Hi, I'm Stephanie McKeith, certified cancer coach and cannabis consultant. And we are going to get straight into purpose. If you don't know what your purpose is, how do you expect to heal? Part of your cancer recovery responsibility is to figure out your whole life's purpose. Each and every single one of us was put here to connect to our creator, to our belief system, and to stay connected throughout the entire course of our life. In times of disease, or when we have a chronic illness or some type of diagnosis that we're trying to work through, there's typically some type of disconnect between the mind, the body, the mind, the spirit, the soul. That's why holistic is such an incredibly important part of your recovery process. I consider myself a holistic cancer coach because we deal with your entire being holistically. Your physical being, your emotional being, your spiritual being, connecting your heart to your head. It's one whole. It's a one whole. You're a whole person. You don't just deal with parts of it. That's what the conventional model is set up to do. That's why the conventional model, after all of these decades and all of these wars and all of these tactics and programs to address cancer, haven't worked. And they're not going to work. It's never going to work until we look at each and every single person who has a cancer diagnosis as a whole being and put together a holistic recovery practice or program. And that's what we're talking about today, your purpose. All of us were put on this earth. Whatever your creator, mine is God, that's who I call mine. Whoever you name your creator to be, gave you a purpose to be here. Some people spend their entire lifetime looking for that purpose. Some people think that that is their job. Some people think it is, excuse me, becoming a mom or a grandparent or being on a mission or starting a nonprofit agency. And perhaps that's part of it, but the ultimate, the most important piece to your purpose is to live your life. And we get so stuck on the thing, or looking at our neighbor or a sibling or a spouse, even a best friend who seems to have it all. They've got it all figured out. They have a great job, a great home life, great friendships. They just seem to have everything in order, and life just seems to happen for them. But perhaps they're just living their life according to what makes them happy. And some of us get stuck or hung up on not knowing what that is, or searching for happiness when it's really something that's homemade. It's a DIY kind of thing. It's not something that we get to as our end result. It's something that needs to be here, and it needs to be now, and it needs to be every day. And if we don't have it, we need to dig and find reasons why, because that's going to stop your ability from healing, from fully recovering. It is the majority of your cancer recovery process. So a lot of times I get asked, how do I figure that out? What do I do? And there's no specific answer for me to give you. I can give you practices that help you get there, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So one thing we're going to touch upon is, I want you to picture your life as though it were a movie, and it starts now. We at Theta Living talk about cancer being a new beginning or a new start, or your opportunity to redo things, or maybe do things a little bit differently that lead you to different results. Different habits, different techniques, different tactics, different actions are going to lead you to different results. So if your life is a movie, and That movie starts right now. You get to forget all past issues. You get to choose to be the hero. You don't just get to name somebody, you are that person. You get to choose to be that person, and you need to be. You need to be the hero of this movie. It's your job. This is your life. This isn't somebody else's. You aren't working to reverse somebody else's disease. You're working to reverse yours. This is all about you. So I want you to get a pen and a piece of paper, and I want you to write down all the things that you think you messed up on, all the things that have gone wrong, all the things that you wish you didn't do, all of the things that you wish you could do differently. And I want you to get that down on paper. I want you to get everything from your entire life up to this point all on paper. Just let it all go. Let it all, write it all down. And all of those things are what brought you to being the person that you are now. They led you to the right now in your life. They don't define you, but they're what brought you to the here and the now. And I want you to write down all of these things, and whether you have ill feelings towards them, or you regret them, or you wish you didn't, these are the things that you are no longer going to tolerate. That's it. We're done with them. You wish they weren't there. They have negative connotations to them, which means they're not good for you. They're not supporting your higher health or your well-being. So these are things that you're not going to tolerate anymore. These are things that have brought you ill health. They've contributed to pain and or suffering, and we don't need them anymore. We don't want them. We're going to move forward from them. We're going to start building momentum, moving away from them. You are going to be the hero of your life, and that hero is the person that makes good decisions, creating this momentum that is moving you forward into better health. You choose, not me, not your spouse, not your siblings, not your neighbors, not your coworkers. You choose. You choose the characteristics of this hero in your movie because it's you. It's your movie. Nobody else gets a say-so in this. And now that you know better, you can do better. So remember, your purpose is to create your own movie, to create this character. That is the role, the primary role in this movie is you. How are you going to treat other people? How are people going to think of you? They can only think of you the way you act and the way that you present yourself. Are you a loving, good, kind-hearted person? How do people know you? What are these characteristics that you're giving this person? You're the star here. So that's completely up to you. Are your thoughts kind? Are you living a joyful life? Are you the kind of person that other people want to be around? What are you like? And forget comparing yourself to other people. Don't do that. Create your character. Create you. You get to choose that. Don't compare to other people. You're the CEO of your life. Remember, the whole reason I'm here is to help you become the CEO of you. Nobody else. Nobody else gets a say-so in that. I get to help guide you, but I don't get to manage you. I don't get to make decisions for you. I get to help sit at your round table, at your meeting table, and help you make decisions because you're the CEO. You get to call the shots and you get to make the decisions. So are your thoughts good? Are they pure? Are they kind? Are they clear? If not, you're going to be miserable. And misery contributes to cancer. It's a negative emotion. Negative emotions have low frequencies. They're low vibrating. Low vibrations contribute to chronic disease, and we don't want that. So what is the best way for you to live your life? You know good from bad at this point. You know a good decision from a bad decision. You know what makes a good person. You know what you need to do to be a good person. It's not magic. It's not rocket science. It's plain and simple. You have to be good. You just have to be a good person, and you have to be good to other people. If you're good to yourself first, it makes it way easier to be good to other people. If you're a snippy, short-fused, angry kind of a person to other people, I know that you're that way to yourself too. So if you're creating the star character for this movie that just so happens to be your movie, you get to control how that person reacts and responds to other people. And I know, and a lot of other people know, that the way you're treating other people is ultimately the way that you're treating yourself too. Just be good to other people. Put out what you want to come back to you, because that's the way it works. Call it what you want it. Call it the law of attraction. Call it quantum physics. It is quantum physics, but call it name, give it a name. It doesn't matter what you call it. It is what it is. What you put out is what comes back to you. Are you living? Are you doing what you love each day? Do you have things that you enjoy that you wish you could do, but you're just not doing? Why? Because you don't give yourself enough time? Because you don't give yourself enough credit? Because you don't give yourself the opportunity? In this movie that we're creating, you get to choose that. If you don't have time for a hobby, how are you going to heal? That's up to you. You have to write that in the script, in this recovery script. You have to put it in there. You have to schedule it in. I'm here to help you, guide you, direct you, support you, cheer you on, show you additional ways, motivate you when you don't feel like it. But it's your job to put it in there. It's your job to do what you love each day. I can help you figure that out, but you have to get out there and do it. You have to schedule the time in your calendar to do that. There's no excuses. Everybody has doubt. Everybody has hard times. That's life. And that's the way it goes. How you respond to that is up to you. This is a journey. This movie that you're writing, this character that you're creating, is on a journey, and this journey is called life. Do you want this person to be a miserable, unhappy, grumpy? Nobody wants to watch that. Nobody wants to be part of that. Be conscious when you're creating this character. You. Sometimes we have to reroute and pay closer attention. Days are going to go by, weeks are going to go by, months are going to go by, years are going to go by. This is a journey, remember. You're going to recover or you're not. Some people are managing cancer for the rest of their life, but these people are writing the script. So they choose whether they are still living their life on purpose, with purpose, or if they're being miserable and resentful. That's your choice. So like I said, sometimes we're going to have to reroute. Sometimes we're going to have to pay closer attention than other times. Attention has to be paid to the path ahead, though. We already wrote down all of the characteristics that we don't want this role to be. So we have to pay attention to those. We have to look at our friends. We have to look at our family. We have to look at our significant other. We have to look at our coworkers. We have to look at our job and decide, is that what we want in this story? The system's always trying to trap you into an archaic way of thinking. So we live in a fear-based society. We live in a box. We live in a society that wants us to feel like we are trapped into a mold and we're all supposed to think, feel, and do the same way. We are not in a society that encourages people to think for themselves. We are not living in a society that encourages you to create the person that you want to be and live a life that you want to live. We live in a society that puts us in a box, an archaic box. You wake up, you get ready like a robot, according to the tick of the clock, you go to work, you do what your boss tells you to do, you come home, and you wait for the next day to start over again. That's the kind of world we live in. Nobody's writing their own script. Nobody is creating their journey to be some type of a movie that other people are going to watch, a movie that you're going to be proud of because you're the producer of it. You're the CEO of you. Why? Because the system, the very system that created that cycle, that mold, that box, needs you to be in their vortex. They need you to be in that box. Misery loves company. This is going to be very uncomfortable for people who know you, who like you, who love you, who up until this point maybe have supported you and now they don't because you're thinking for yourself, you're doing things different, your lifestyle is changing, your habits are becoming different, you're creating new ones and they're different. Different is painful for some people. Change is painful. When you have to rework your lifestyle because all of the decisions, or maybe not all of them, but a lot of the decisions that you've made up until this point led you to disease, you need to rethink some of those people that are in your life. Some of them may not be good for you. Some of them you might call boss. Maybe you need to call somebody else boss. Misery loves company. And if that's not what you want in this movie that you're writing, in this script that you're creating, on this journey that you're journeying, you need new ones. They don't want you to take a right turn. They want you to make a left because that's where they're going. That's what's comfortable for them. They're dependent on you moving ahead with your eyes closed, letting life happen to you versus you creating the life that you want, you creating the movie that you want to be, that you want to be proud of, that you want to be known for. We're all going to die. We know that. There's an expiration on each and every one of us. Who knows when that is? It's not up to any doctor or oncologist or any type of practitioner or anybody. That's up to no one to give you that expiration date. We all know it's coming. It's inevitable. It's the cycle of life. It's the circle of life. It's the way, that's the way life is. But you can't do it with your eyes closed. You're not going to make a very exciting, memorable movie that somebody else is going to be interested in. I want you to look around and take a look at all of the people that didn't create their own path. Unfortunately, we all know somebody. My dad was one of them. He had no idea. He was the first one in my immediate family that had a cancer diagnosis that was so close to home, so close to heart, so impactful to every single one of us that we just didn't know any better. We didn't know there was options. We didn't know there was different ways. We didn't know there was people that took other paths. So when he got his cancer diagnosis, I took a step back and said, this just isn't right. Everything that everybody's been doing up until this point, they're gone or they're sick. And I don't want my dad to be that way. I have kids. I had very active little kids at that point in time. I wanted my dad to be active with my kids. I wanted him to be an active pa, because that's what my kids called their grandpa. But by the time we learned about taking your own path, it was too late. He followed the path that everybody traveled. The conventional model with no integration of complementary, supportive, alternative, natural, holistic therapies. They were laughed at. Everything that we learned along the way, that I questioned, that I tried to incorporate, was laughed at. This was a long time, and times have changed since then. This is quite a while ago. Times have changed since then, thank God, because by the time my sister was diagnosed with her cancer diagnosis, breast cancer, she was able to take her own path. We carved her path. She's still carving her path. When everybody else goes left, she's going right. And then everybody wants to know what's happening down that right-hand path. Completely different. Conventionally speaking, traditionally speaking, the people who take that most frequented path, they're miserable. They're suffering. They're looking at somebody who looks like a walking dead isn't appealing. That's why we fear the word cancer. We're terrified of that word. And that's another show that I'm gonna record is the word cancer is a disease. The way we think of the word cancer is a disease. We call it the C word. That's unhealthy. Cancer is cancer. It's a blanket term. I don't want to get too far down that path though, because we're going to talk about that in depth. That's going to be a huge topic to discuss because we need to take the taboo off of that. But that's part of your journey. That's part of your movie that you need to manifest, is taking the toxicity out of the word cancer. If you don't want cancer to look like some miserable death warmed over type of a person, don't be that person. Don't make your script out to be that person. But how do you do that? You have to step outside of what the drug companies want you to do. You have to incorporate supplements that are right for you, not one that somebody else wrote for their protocol. That's not what's right for you. You need to go according to what's right for you, your genetics, your epigenetics, your particular type of cancer, your lifestyle, your beliefs, which are not the same as mine or my sister's or my dad's. So we're all related, but what each one of them takes for our own health protocol is completely different. You need to look at the people who have navigated their own way, not for comparison's sake, but for strength, motivation, inspiration. Did they work cannabis into their life? Were they afraid? Did they let political or politics and propaganda get in their way of healing? Are you going to let a billboard that says marijuana is a drug or a gateway drug, are you going to let them keep that from you? Are you going to not write that into your story because somebody with a political agenda or a pharmaceutical agenda said so? Do you even have your own opinion of cannabis, or is your opinion of cannabis because that's what somebody programmed into your head, because that's what a billboard programmed into your head? When you're writing the script, the beauty of it is you get to research and study anything and everything that you want. You don't have to put something into your script because somebody else said so. But you have to look closely at what these things are. You have to be willing to take a chance on yourself. That's your purpose, is yourself. Living your life as yourself, not because of what somebody said for you. I'm not writing your script. Your parents are not writing your script. Your spouse is not writing your script. You are. So you have to be willing to look at these things with a magnifying lens. What do these people that have gone before you, that have healed with supportive measures and they've created their own path, what did they do? I'm not telling you this because I want you to do what they did. I'm telling you this because I want you to see how they took control and they took responsibility and they didn't do what the recipe said for them to do. Look closely at how did they become the CEO of their own health? Are they eating the standard American diet? I doubt it. And if they are, they're not healing. And whatever benefits they have won't last, because your body is only as good as the fuel that you put into it. If they're eating the standard American diet of potato chips and burgers and drinking pop and they think like garbage, then they're going to feel like garbage. In this movie that you're writing, in the star player or the star role is the hero of this movie, probably is not drinking Mountain Dew, probably is not eating potato chips, probably doesn't think that they're worthless and can't get along with anybody and hates the world and is afraid of what other people think, that person that you're creating for this movie that you're writing probably doesn't think that way. Are they sitting on the couch all day, every day? No, they're not. You can't. Humans were not designed to sit all day, every day. Humans were created intelligently to be hunting and gathering our food outside, in the sun, in the woods, in nature, absorbing everything nature has to offer, absorbing all of the clean air and everything in the atmosphere in the world. That's what humans were designed for. But society pulled us inside, indoors, behind walls, four walls, in cubicles, away from the sun, away from the vitamin D, away from the fresh air, away from all of the frequencies and the vibrations of the plants and the living creatures and beings, and fresh air and essential oils that we get from the trees when we're walking through the woods. We have completely been taken away from all of that. We're supposed to be out there because nature is medicine. It truly is medicine, and there's science and studies to prove that. That's not my opinion. I'm not making it up. There is plenty of science to prove that. Plenty of research. You're supposed to be hiking, walking. Okay, say you can't hike. You're not in an area that allows you to do that. Go outside and take a walk. Open your window, be outside. Find a way to be outside. You have to write that into your script. It has to be part of it. Energy medicine is a whole holistic therapeutic way of healing. There are holistic health centers such as Theta Living that offer energy medicine therapies to reconnect you to all of the vibrations and the frequencies that the earth gives you for healing. God didn't make a mistake when he created this earth, or whoever you call your creator. I happen to call mine God, so I can call mine God because I'm writing me. This is my script, so I will call my creator whatever I want. You call your creator whatever you want. Are you doing what you want to do with your life? I am. I'm not wasting my time. I wasted my time for years and years and years. I had stinking thinking. I ate the standard American diet, and I was unhealthy. My dad's cancer diagnosis changed all that. Are you doing the things you love that you want? Are you writing that into your script? You need to. Are you writing a depressing script, or are you writing a happy, joyful one? It's totally up to you. Are you depressed that you're just not doing things that you wanted to? Because you don't have to do that anymore. Remember, we wrote down all the things that brought us to this point right here. All the things that we're not happy about, that we don't want, that we're not proud of, that we're not happy about, that we regret, that we wish we didn't. You get to stop that now. And moving forward, you get to write in all of the things that you want to, that you wish for, that you hope for, and you write them as though you're living them now, because you're writing this movie now. Just like everybody else has a different personality, they're going to respond to treatments differently. So the way I write my story, the way my sister's writing her script, is not the way you're going to write yours. I respond to what makes me happy, what makes me tick, what makes me get up in the morning, what tugs on my heartstrings is not what's going to tug on yours. So the things that's why you can't order somebody's cancer healing protocol or cancer recovery program. Here's my 10-step cancer recovery program for $197. This is the way to remission. That's not going to work for you. That worked for that person, he or she, whatever, because that's what their script required. That's what their hero in their movie wants. But what made their movie happy and successful and a wonderful, beautiful legacy for them to live is not the same thing that's going to make yours beautiful and wonderful. Keep that in mind. So this needs to be something that's encouraged and addressed, because your personality is different than anybody else's. Your personality is just as unique as your DNA. So much so that we can even dive into genetics testing to find out how you respond to stress, how different supplements can help you respond in a more healthful way, how cannabis might work for you, but it's not going to work for me. Totally different. We are shoving star shapes into square holes by trying to follow a one-size-fits-all protocol. Conventional models say you have pancreatic cancer. So this, let's look at pancreatic cancer. Here's the recipe. This is the medication. Shoving a star shape into a square hole doesn't work. We have to look at you as an individual. That's why following somebody else's guidelines, somebody else's protocol, somebody else's program is not going to work. You have to create your own cancer recovery technique. That's what we're here for. That's what we're doing. That's what your purpose is. That is your purpose. At this point in your life, that is your purpose. That's what this movie is about. That's what this script is about. No more traditional box, no more mold. Decade after decade, after hundreds of centuries of years, we've been doing that, and it doesn't work. It's not, we have to do things that are going to change that. You don't have to do it because everybody else does it. Nobody said that. It's not a rule. It's not the golden rule. There's not a rule that says if you get cancer, then you have to. But that's how the cancer word became a bad word. That's why we're going to talk about that on a whole other show. It's going to be a whole other topic about the C word. I don't know about you, but I do not care to do what everybody else is doing because that doesn't work for me. It's torture. I want better odds than that. My dad did the recipe. He took, along with everybody else that I know that's no longer here, or everybody else that I know that is suffering all of the needless suffering from long-term reactions or side effects because they weren't able to incorporate appropriate nutrition, reversing toxicity, supporting their emotional state of being to their physical state of being, and plugging that into their spiritual state of being. They weren't treated holistically. This is not a replacement to medical treatment. This is not to be done without a physician or a trained or an oncologist. This is alongside of. Cancer coaching, I am here to help you write the script. I am here to help you open up the cannabis conversation with your practitioner, with your oncologist. I'm here to help you write your script because you are the CEO of you, not your doctor, not your oncologist. They're part of your healing team. You hire them. You're the CEO/producer. You're writing the script of your movie, of your journey. This is your purpose in life, not theirs. So I want better odds than what somebody else is going to program for me. I don't need somebody else to write my script, and neither do you. There has to be a hinge point where you say, I just don't fit into that conventional model. I need a recovery program. I need a technique that helps me get through this. I need another way. I need my way. So many people are seeking another way, and this is it. Your own individual way. That's the way. You have to write your own movie. You have to consciously write the script, not randomly. You can't wake up in the morning and hope that today works, hope today's going to be the day that creates this turning point for you and you just get really good test results and everything changes and it's just all seems to be going your way. It's not the way that that's going to work. We need to find what feels comfortable for you. That's a huge part. You can't go into the chemo infusion center 3 times a week, 3 times a month, whatever it is that they've decided for you, and have no belief or no faith in that it's going to work for you. You have to find what works for you. You have to be comfortable with it. If you're not comfortable with it, we need to take a step back and have another discussion with that oncologist and work together to find something that's comfortable. You have to have faith in it. You have to learn how to incorporate additional modalities, i.e. energy medicine therapies, acupuncture, Reiki, massage, PEMF, near infrared. Some of those might work for you, some of them might not. It just depends. It depends on what needs to be written in your script, what's going to fit into your movie. What does your hero need to do that is going to create health and healing rather than only seeking to destroy? If you take the seek to destroy treatment path for your cancer, that's like a crapshoot. That's like the fingers crossed method. No, thank you. That's not in my script. That is not in my story. That is not my story. Not. My sister did not write that into her story. She did not. She was very much an active part, an active decision maker, an active voice in her recovery technique and her approach to treatment. She discussed with her physicians, with her naturopathic oncologists, with her surgeon, what worked best for her, what she was comfortable with, and she voiced her opinion. And they listened. But that's because she didn't try to shove, she didn't allow them to shove a star shape into a square hole. She didn't allow them to put her in that box. She wrote her script, and she took charge of that. She took her CEO role very seriously, as do I. My dad didn't get that opportunity. We didn't know. We didn't know. We didn't know there were options. We didn't know there was support. I'm a cancer coach now because there was no cancer coach for us. We needed a cancer coach. We needed somebody to work with. We needed the cancer recovery technique. We needed a program. We didn't know what to do. We crap shot every single day. Should we juice today? Should we wheatgrass? Do we supplement? How much? When? What about energy medicine? What about the whole mind, body, spirit connection thing? We were laughed at. Which brings me to the happiness portion of it. Being laughed at by somebody that you're supposed to respect and put a lot of hope, trust, and faith in, it doesn't help you create your own happiness. Let me tell you, happiness is something that creates more stability and satisfaction. And with that happiness, creating the stability and satisfaction is going to make your treatment more effective. So could part of the reason that my dad's chemotherapy in combination with radiation that led him to a secondary cancer, could that be because he had such a hard time creating happiness because his doctors were laughing at him? Yeah. Yes, absolutely. They didn't give him the opportunity to heal as a holistic or as a whole person. They didn't allow him the holistic way of healing. We did that secretly behind closed doors, and anytime we brought it up, it was laughed at. And that's not acceptable. It's just not. It's not. Walking, running, and racing to be treated that way is not acceptable. It's soul crushing. We need to find other ways. That was soul crushing. I could see the life drain out of him in certain doctor's appointments. We would go in there so excited. He was feeling good. He was exercising for the first time in his life. He was living his life. He felt like he was contributing to his purpose. He was writing his script. And then he would tell his doctors, his oncologists, his surgeons, his specialists what he was doing, and they would laugh at him. It has nothing to do with your positive results. That has nothing to do with the way that you're responding to this therapy or this treatment or whatever it is they were doing. My sister, however, they would hug her and love her and fill her and fuel her with every opportunity that they had to listen to her. when she got to express her excitement for finding a new supplement that she read up on that might benefit her in her treatment, and they were all ears and they were willing to listen, consider, and if they didn't know, they were willing to put some time into research, that filled her. It filled her soul. It boosted her immune system. It didn't suppress her. Having that negative response from somebody who's supposed to be on your healing team suppresses your nervous system even further. It makes you sicker. It contributes to your cancer diagnosis. It makes you not feel well. Scanxiety, scan plus anxiety, is a very real phenomenon. It's when you feel sick before you go in for a test or before you go in for your test results, because the allopathic or the conventional model has so much fear associated with it. It's fear-based. So energy medicine, that's also something that we should get into. We should do a whole another talk about that, and I will. But just to touch on that is, don't allow yourself to get drained. Energy medicine is something that we should all have access to. I can help you find or identify what energy medicine therapies could be of benefit to you. You have to be able to refill yourself along the way. This is part of your story, and that's an exciting part of your story. It's the feel-good part of your story. It's what fills your superhero powers. It gives you the energy and the opportunity to be that superhero. If you're drained and you're not feeling well, how are you going to heal? How are you going to create the happiness? Too many people don't pay attention to this because they just don't know about it. We are the only energy medicine holistic health center, cancer support center in our entire area. And we're not very well known. And that's sad. It breaks my heart. Every cancer patient, whether, and I don't even like the term cancer patient, every person who has cancer who is working to heal or recover, every cancer hero should have access to energy medicine. It's non-invasive, and it's mimicking everything in nature that supports your body's better well-being. We get drained and we need to refill, and this helps you do that. It helps you do just that. When you're exhausted, you just can't think clearly. You can't think clearly. Sometimes we need a therapy to help us be able to sleep better. So when our sleep is more effective, we just do better. We think better. When we think better, our physical well-being is better. But do you see how those are connected? The emotional, the psychological, the physical, it all goes together. No matter how good physically my dad felt, when we would sit in that patient room waiting for the oncologist to come in, to only laugh at him and make him feel like a goofball for taking probiotics or asking about cannabis or talking about THC or squashing the whole cannabis conversation or telling him how good he felt or how far he went on his last walk or his bike ride or what we were able to do over the weekend or an excursion or something we were able to celebrate as a family or do, or some milestone, anything that made him excited, that his body was physically able to do that he hadn't been able to do, sometimes ever. When the doctor would come in and squash that and make it almost like a joke, emotionally he was just drained. It exhausted him. He needed energy medicine and we didn't have access to it at the time. So I can help you understand these things, know about these things. They help you make better decisions because you're thinking clearly. You have to be able to integrate new ideas, and integrating new ideas can be scary when they're not mainstream and your doctor's not talking about them. it can be scary. You have to be able to think on your toes. You have to be able to have the energy or the mental stability and the clarity to do this type of research, to understand it, to bring it back to your doctor and have that kind of a conversation. But as anything, the more you understand about it, the better you can be at it, and the more you're going to get out of it. That's just the way new ideas work. But all of these are choices. Everything you put into this script, this movie that you're making, this hero you that you're creating, everything about you is a choice. Everything. I'm not putting things into your script. My kids, Quinn and Jaden and Evan, they're very much a part of everything that I do, but they don't write my script. My husband doesn't write my script. I make my own decisions. These are my own choices. This is my journey. This is my movie. I choose to have them part of my movie because I love them. They love me. There's mutual respect. But you don't have to choose anybody in there unless it makes you feel good, unless it brings out the joy and the happiness. This is your purpose. This is your purpose. This. We're not searching for it. You're creating it. Your purpose is to live your life. It doesn't matter. Remember, all the things that brought you to this point, to this diagnosis, to this day, you're writing down. And now you're writing all of the things that you're doing and going to do moving forward. Those are choices. I don't care what these regrets are, what these I wish I didn't, wouldn't have, shouldn't have. Now you don't have to. And it doesn't matter where you're at or what you're doing. You still have to write something because you're still here. You still have to do something. So it's a choice. You can either continue to robot on, just like the system wants to keep you in that vortex. They want you to keep you in the recipe. They're not interested in your path. They're not interested in your way, in your recovery technique. They're not interested in that. You need to be interested in that. That's your responsibility. It's not mine. It's nobody else's. So you can choose to continue to robot on and become a statistic, or you can choose to be a successful, blockbuster hit, well-known movie. It's up to you. But the ultimate choice is to become the CEO of you and take charge of your situation. If you want to recover from cancer, you have to become the CEO, because this is the rest of your life that we're talking about. I cannot wait to read your script, to watch your movie, and I hope to be part of your journey. But most of all, I'm so excited to be part of anybody's cancer recovery, because that means you're taking charge. That means another person has become the CEO of their own movie, of your own role. And that's exciting. That's what's going to change cancer. To change cancer, we have to find our purpose. Our purpose is in living life.
Thanks for watching the Theta Living Show. Please like and subscribe to our channel to learn more about cancer and cannabis, 2 things you need to know about.